Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Your weekly dose of romance and drama has arrived. Season 29 of The Bachelor is here, and Grant Ellis, certified hottie and former day trader, is trading his day job on Wall Street for a second chance at everlasting love. New episodes drop every Monday at 8/7 Central, bringing you fresh twists in Grant's journey to find his soulmate. This self-proclaimed mama's boy is all grown up and ready to invest his heart. Will his playful charm win over the house full of hopefuls, or will the competition prove too intense? From heartfelt moments to adrenaline-pumping dates, each week brings new surprises in the mansion. Will Grant find his perfect match or end up with a broken heart? Tune in every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu for new episodes of The Bachelor.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another wild adventure. And we have these are my favorite. We have an old-timey episode. And
black and white.
This family puts Joe Pepitone's family to shame in terms of insanity. He has a crazier father than Joe Pepitone.
Terrific.
I never thought we'd say that because at the time we were like
fighting children.
Yes, we a whole team of children. Yeah. At the time we were like, well, no one's ever had a crazier father, and then within a few months, here we are again with someone who's even crazier. Before we get to that, though, quickly, definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com if you have any interest in anything that we're putting out there. There's merchandise. There's all sorts of shit there to get. So it's a lot of fun. Follow us on social media. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All your bonus material, hundreds of episodes, new ones every other week. We'll talk about them at the end of the show, what the hell we'll have there. It's not a big deal. Let's get right to the show, though, because it's crazy, because we have a wild asshole this week.
Terrific.
And his name is Ted Turner.
Is that right?
Yes. Now, that's the funny part here, obviously, right off the bat, is he's not Ted Turner. No, because this Ted Turner was born May 4th, 1892.
You sure it's not the same guy?
Yeah, definitely not. No, he's not a yachtsman, this guy, by any stretch.
All right.
That Ted Turner, obviously, the famous Ted Turner who started CNN and TBS and all that kind of shit.
TNT.
That guy, his dad was like an advertiser, did signs, billboards and all that, and that's how Ted made his money, as he took over his dad's business. But his dad was like...
media already.
Well, his dad was like a fuck-up and an alcoholic, and he ended up... His dad killed himself. That's how he did it. Yeah, and his dad was an asshole to him, too. Like, Ted had Ted got kicked out of college for writing some article and all this type of shit. That's the type of... Yeah, Ted Turner's a fucking... He's a crazy motherfucker, so...
I've never heard anything that I hated about him, to be honest. No, everything I keep hearing is great.
He closes deals by making people, like high-level businessmen, smoke weed out of a corncob pipe with him in his office. He's a fucking weirdo. He's hilarious.
Wow.
So, anyway, Ted Turner took his father's fledgling shitty billboard business and turned it into what he turned it into because he's a psychopath and his father was just... not. So
he made America love the Braves, for Christ's sake.
Or at least he forced us to watch them anyway.
Yeah, whether or not you like them,
sure
it's on you.
Forced us to watch them. When I moved to Phoenix, that was like, well, because Phoenix didn't have a baseball team in the early 90s, and it was like, well, I guess I'm watching fucking Braves games every day, even though I hate them. This is
I watched
great.
a lot of Braves, Cubs, and Sox games, man. They were on all the goddamn time.
WGN was a lifesaver.
It's great.
Yeah, the White Sox will play the Yankees once in a while, so I get to see a Yankee game. And then, you get to see the Cubs, which I like watching Wrigley games and all that kind of shit. But this Ted Turner is totally different. His name is Theodore Halltop Turner. Holtop. Halltop.
What is that?
I assume it's probably a family name from his mother's side, last name. Okay. That was very common back then, to give your kids the middle name of a family last name. He's born in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and his family are just wild hill people.
Terrific.
This is holler time. Yeah. I mean, they're all crazy. There's like 9 kids. They're all complete delinquents. It's a fucking disaster, and his dad's the worst of them all. And by the way, I'll tell you right up front, very little sports in this episode.
Terrific.
He probably has had the shortest career of anybody we've ever covered. Literally. It's hilarious how short of a career he's had. We'll get to that later, though. I won't ruin the surprise. So his father is Robert Lee Turner.
Okay.
And he has 2 different nicknames that are pretty same spirit to both of them, let's just say. He's either Turkey Bob or Chicken Bob, either one. So he's Poultry Bob, either way.
Depending on whether or not you can recognize the bird. It's either a chicken or a turkey.
Either a chicken or a turkey. We're not sure yet.
Lean meat Bob.
Lean meat Bob. That's it. White meat, fucking dark meat Bob here. Crispy skin Bob. So, and that is because he steals chickens and turkeys constantly.
He steals them.
Repeatedly. Like, goes to prison for stealing chickens because he can't stop stealing chickens. He's such a fucking maniac.
He's Dana Carvey in Lost in Paradise, just stealing only chickens.
Only chickens. Yeah, chickens. This guy will steal chickens, turkeys. He'll steal anything with a beak that's not nailed down. He's got it. It's all his.
What is that about?
It's
Does
so
he like
weird.
the taste? Does he eat them?
I don't know if he's just obsessed with having them, but his kids do it too. All of his kids steal livestock and corn and tools. They're like... These people are like a
meth heads minus the meth.
It's a band of like disgusting meth heads with like 9 kids.
Wow.
And they're all, the father sends them all out to be delinquents. I don't even know what, we've never heard of a family like this before. It's so strange.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're the trashiest people ever. So his mother's name is Mary Turner, and he has either 9 or 10 siblings. We're not sure. Okay. Either 8, 9, or 10. We're not sure because it said...
Okay.
It's said in various places, and this is 130 years ago, so we don't have no idea. It's kind of difficult here.
It's safe to say he has too many either way.
Either way, he shouldn't have this many.
He has more children than he can support for sure.
I feel like all of the kids here weren't like miracles; they were just irresponsibilities. Was how this goes. So our guy Ted here will eventually have a wife named Mamie, who is. That's a very old-timey name.
Yeah, it is.
And he'll have a son named Walter, who they call Tootsie, like the famous Dustin Hoffman character. He would not. He just liked to cross-dress and walk around New York City. So what?
Curly hair and moo-moos.
That's it. He liked it. What do you want from him?
That is fascinating about men that in the movies when they cross-dress to be convincing. It's always just a dress that's way too big so you can't see their manly figure.
Yeah, so you don't see that, and they still have like fucking huge calves and shit, and you're like, what's going on here? Yeah. So Dustin Hoffman did not look like a hot woman in that movie.
No.
But every guy in there was like, who's this piece of ass? It's like, it's fucking Rain Man. What are you talking about? You want to fuck Rain Man?
Captain Hook, you guys.
Yeah. Wow. You are not good at this. So he'll also have Elmer, who he'll nickname Buddy. He's like, Elmer's a pretty rednecky name, but let's make it worse.
Why even name him if you're just going to give him dumb shit names like that?
That's a really good question. There's so many questions that I have for this guy. It's not even fucking funny. So we'll start with that one.
Yeah.
So he's born in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, like we said, and there's anywhere from 9 to 11 children in the family here. The 1900 federal census refers to Bob Chicken/Turkey Turner, the father, as a farm laborer. But various Kentucky newspapers in the time, and we'll go over a bunch of them, call him, quote, one of the most hardened criminals in the state. In the whole state.
The scourge of Kentucky.
Like turn of the century Kentucky. And he's the worst of all of these fucking hardened. He's like goes back into the holler at night. And fucking you just see his eyes peeking out.
Just a woods guy.
Yeah, just in the dark there. Just
yikes.
using, oh, God, this is some.
Can't wait for you to turn your back on that chicken.
So, January 25th, 1907, here's an article from the Courier Journal here. And it says, charges after contempt rule, sensational developments in alleged bribery case. Robert Turner, that's chicken/turkey Bob, accuses juvenile court officers. Criminations and recriminations follow his reply. Now, this is because his kids, specifically two of his teenage sons at this point, one is our guy Ted, and then there's another son. At some point here, they get in trouble a lot. They're always getting arrested for various thieveries.
They've got a reputation for it.
And apparently Turkey/Chicken Bob decided to bribe one of the juvenile court officers to get him out of here. And that was an accusation against him. And he said, well, they asked for the bribe. So it became like a big corruption case.
Oh.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I paid it, but it's because they implied that I could get away with it.
That's, I mean, they asked for it, and I said, well, sure, it's not my fucking, I'm not the one with a job that I signed something to say I would be honest about. Sure.
Nobody ever in Mexico today says, I'll give you $100 and you look the other way on it. The federales will tell you, give me 300 pesos and I'll walk away.
Yeah, they name their price. I mean, obviously, you're not going to just offer things.
Yeah, that's what it is in bribery. That's
that's how it works.
It's usually not bribery. It's fucking crooked somebody that
you say, what'll it take? And they tell you.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm in trouble? Yeah. That's not fair.
Well, believe me, I'm Italian. I know a lot about bribery. You say, what's it going to take? And then it works. Yeah.
That guy offered it. I didn't fucking do it. Don't talk to me.
What you want from me?
Sure, I paid the bribe, but what I felt was I was paying the fine, just without paperwork.
I don't know who's acting officially at this point. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's got some kind of fucking providence behind him here. I don't know.
I just put the money in the envelope.
I'm just a guy who steals chickens. I have no idea how the government works.
I paid the fine. That's what I'm telling you.
So it says a rule of contempt issued by County Judge Charles A. Wilson against Robert Turner, requiring him to appear in court and show cause why he should not be punished for making alleged offers of money to officers of the juvenile court to secure the release of his son, now in the industrial school. This is when Ted got sent to the, quote, industrial school, which was like... It was like a bad juvenile hall mixed with some sort of vocational
labor
training.
Camp.
Like here's how to weld, you little delinquent, which is actually good.
Yeah, sure. Unless it's doing it for General Motors.
If the kid takes that and does something with it, excellent. If he takes it and decides he's going to now weld a car to a building just to fuck with people, then he's...
Or make a still.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. They say this gives rise to a series of grave charges and countercharges and will, on next Thursday afternoon, receive a thorough investigation by the court. Whether Turner's move is made in good faith or is merely a political play inspired by certain elements to discredit the juvenile court and its work has yet to develop. Suspicion, however, indicates so far that the latter is the case. So, he's trying to discredit this here. Indicates so far, indicates so far, that's how the newspaper put it, that the latter is the case. Turner is represented by attorneys Bruce Helm, blah, 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 who, as it happens, are leading counsel for the fusionists in the election contest cases. Okay. The affidavit or response which they prepared for Turner and to which their what is this? It's a 1907 newspaper, so some of it's not a great scan in some of this. Their client swore, there's a line through it. Client swore charges, among other things, Mrs. Kate Heyman, chief probation officer, and for years matron of the jail, with having introduced someone to Turner as Robert W. Bingham, county attorney, for the purposes of getting certain papers out of Turner's possession. It later developed that Bernard Flexner was the person who Mrs. Heyman introduced to Turner. His assertion that Turner was deceived was indignantly denied by Mr. Flexner, who said that Mrs. Heyman did not identify him to the man at all. Furthermore, he said that Turner was himself accompanied by Samuel Tate, who was his lawyer at the time, and Mr. Tate was well acquainted with Mr. Flexner. Okay. When Turner filed his response, Judge Wilson passed the matter until 2 o'clock for further consideration, and they said they were going to do all this. Now, Turner, they talk about having two sons, 17 years of age and 15. Now they're saying Theodore is 17 at this point.
Okay.
Even though on his date of birth is 1892.
Near, right? Yeah.
No, so he'd be 15. But I don't know if his date of birth there is wrong or if the court. Here's what I think, because his dad is saying he's 17, and if his dad's saying he's 17, at that point he would be released from the industrial school because he's out of their age. But the court is saying he's younger, so that's how this is working.
So he's trying to break him free by saying he's older. He's too old to be there.
He's too old to be there, but there's also bribes. So it says in his response, he says that 5 weeks ago, Detective Belzer and Myers came to his home when he was absent and took both boys away, and that he was never able to learn what charge had been placed against them. It's a thievery, general thievery, by the way. He denied any delinquency in connection with the children. It is further alleged that they were brought before the juvenile court and committed to the industrial school. Regarding the charge that he had been offering money to officers, the juvenile court to get his younger son released, the respondent said that on both the day after the commitment of both of them, he was approached by Edward Bloomfield, an attorney, and told that he could secure the release of the elder son if he could raise $25.
Okay.
That's the bribe, which is, a lot of money, I guess, in 1907 too.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
25. Turner says he raised $22.
Pretty good deal.
You know how many chickens I had to steal for that? A lot. Chickens are cheap.
They're a dozen a nickel.
Yeah, absolutely. And gave it to Bloomfield, and the elder boy was released. So the bribe worked. And it developed later in the inquiry that Mr. Bloomfield received the money as his fee for his services, and that he moved the juvenile court for Theodore's release on the grounds that he was over the legal age of custody. So the lawyer's saying that was just a fee for my legal services to file the paperwork saying that they have him falsely incarcerated because of his age, not a bribe.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. Okay. So in the original inquiry, Judge Wilson explained that when under oath, Turner gave the age of his elder boy as 16, which put him in the jurisdiction of the court, which is closer to true, and I don't think he knows how old his son is, by the way.
You might be right.
I
lost track.
9 kids? Think about it. 9 kids. Would you start remembering everybody's fucking age?
I got 2, and sometimes I mix them up, so I get it.
How often do you go, you remember the year they were born, and then you do math in your head? And,
you remember the year they were born?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know.
Well, one was born right after September 11th, so that's
that's easy. Yeah.
Right before, a few days before. So that was an easy one, and then the other one I have to fucking concentrate for a second to remember. The year.
I don't know. I tattooed one of them, so I remember.
That's helpful.
But I only know the date.
Shit, where's the mirror? Jimmie's got to find a mirror to find out if he needs to buy a birthday card for his daughter. That's very...
And then in the mirror, it's backwards. I'm like, is it 10-9 or 9-10?
Jesus Christ. I love it. So, I guess that it developed all of this here. He's under 16, they're saying. Yeah. When it was shown that the boy was 17, Judge Wilson immediately sustained a motion for his release. So this guy just had to make up some false paper saying he was 17 and he get released. That's what he paid for, his dad. Turner, in his response, states further that on the same day of his transaction with Bloomfield, Joe Forsting, who he thought was an officer of the juvenile court, came to him and asked how much he would give to get his younger boy released. Yeah.
Oh, no.
This guy's up for giving bribes. They're all coming out of
the
fucking woodwork now. Respondent alleges that he said that he would be willing to pay $20. Older one's worth $25, but I'll only give you $20 for the younger one. Sorry. Forsting is then alleged to have collected W.F. Belzer and Wallace Coulter when he heard Belzer say he will have to put it up first. So, yeah, we want money up front is what they're saying. I think 12. I think 10.
See it.
I think
see it in how do I know that's not a 20 with a bunch of ones wrapped?
I don't know what it is. I want a 10 before and a 10 after I'm paying. You produce the kid, you get the other 10. Yeah. So they said a moment later, Turner alleges that Coulter and Forsting informed him that it would cost $25 to get his younger son out of the industrial school, an extra $5.
Yeah.
So old Turkey Bob said that he tried to raise the money before the court adjourned, but could only borrow $10, which he returned and gave it to Wallace Coulter. Mr. Coulter then said to have informed him that he could not take the case for that sum. Yeah. Too low of a bribe.
Yeah.
So Turner then charges that on January 13th, he met Bessler and Forsting and that they asked him if he was able to raise the money, whereupon he replied that he could not get more than $10, and they informed him that it would still take $25. So they keep coming to him. How about now? Still only can get $10. Yeah.
I got a down payment of 10, but I'll get the rest.
Chicken prices are plummeting. Yeah, I'll pay you in pilfered turkeys. How's that? Does that work for you?
I got $10 and 3 turkey heads.
How about it? Anything? Then follows the allegation regarding Mrs. Heyman. Turner concludes with the request that his younger son be discharged from custody to be allowed to remove to Jessamine, where he says he can find employment. Let my son come with me where I'll move away. You won't bother. I won't bother you and I can find a job. Regarding the incarceration of the boys, Judge Wilson took action against them because he believed that there was, before the court, sufficient proof of their misconduct to warrant it. In taking up the matter of the Turner response in the afternoon, Judge Wilson stated that it comprehended such serious charges and reflected in one way or another upon such a large number of persons that he was not going into the case at hand, but would pass the matter over for a later day when it could be given a thorough hearing. The judge said, too complicated.
Yeah, not today.
Another time.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah. I didn't eat breakfast. I'm a little...
There's a turkey sandwich in my chambers. I got to get out of here.
There's a turkey. Who put that there? Oh, it was you. Turkey Bob. He strikes again.
I got to get to it.
What if he got his nickname from just leaving turkey sandwiches for people? Acts of kindness. Acts of lunch kindness.
The avocado's turning brown. I got to get to it.
I got to go. Really, it doesn't last long. It's got to... Right below that article, by the way, there's a very uplifting article.
Oh, yeah?
Young woman burns to death in home.
Jesus Christ.
Physician who tries to save her sprains legs and hands are scorched.
Welcome to 1912.
This is great. Mrs. Ethel Brady, the 17-year-old daughter. Oh, Miss Ethel Brady, the 17-year-old daughter. I was like, Mrs. 17, Jesus. Of James
17
Brady.
17 and dead?
Of the Stanley neighborhood. Met death in a horrible manner today.
No shit.
I guess so. The young woman was standing before an open fire when her dress skirt caught.
Oh, Jesus.
And she was soon enveloped in a mass of flames. Oh, my God.
I don't know how this didn't happen every fucking day.
Constantly. Yeah, like to Tony Soprano's girlfriend there.
The amount of clothes they were wearing was insane.
Clothes, they all long-ass hair.
Yeah.
Shit. She ran screaming from the house. Just screaming on fire. Stop, drop, and roll.
Open fire in the house.
In the house. That's how you cooked. You had your wood stove, and you'd have to heat it up. So she ran screaming, like I said, stop, drop, and roll training, not instituted.
Not there yet. Yeah.
No. So Dr. Dawson was passing the house at the time, just happened to pass by, see a girl on fire.
Pronounced her dead.
That's yeah.
Kept walking.
That one's dead, and he put a stamp on her forehead and left. Yeah. And rushed to her rescue. The frightened girl threw her arms about him, and it was necessary for the doctor to use considerable force before the girl released her hold on him.
Yeah.
He threw her in the mud and rolled her over several times in an attempt to extinguish the flames. In the tussle with the girl, the doctor's leg was sprained and he was burned about the hands. It's not like he fought her in the tussle. The girl died in agony in a few hours.
Oh,
Jesus
Christ.
I love the extra details the old newspapers put in. She died in the next few. Died in agony. On account of
she died whilst screaming and bleeding through wounds of fire.
Of fire. Then it gets worse. On account of the high water, apparently there was a flood at the time, a minister was unable to get to her to conduct a funeral service, too. So they had to have a funeral service without the minister, too. Not good.
Creek's too high.
All right.
Come hell or high water. Well, it's high water. I can't bring it.
So Ted's a juvenile delinquent whose turkey pilfering father has paid bribe money to have him released from an industrial school. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Grace. That's Grace.
This is the best.
This is the best it ever is for him. Released from juvie to his dad's custody is the best that it's ever going to get.
Tremendous.
January 31st, 1907, there's another article here, so it's like right after this. They're following up on it. And the title of this is Turner's Family Altogether Bad.
Jesus.
There's just a headline damning the whole family.
This whole family sucks.
Wow. Commonwealth files reply in contempt case. Answers charges against juvenile court officers. Most disgraceful state of affairs described. False statements alleged. or alleged. So attorneys for the Commonwealth in the case of Robert Turner cited Judge Charles A. Wilson to show cause why he should not be punished for contempt for an alleged attempt to bribe officers. So that was the original thing here, how this all started.
Yeah.
So they accuse him now of apparently having been, this is the dad, have been involved in numerous shady transactions, quote unquote, on various occasions of having been before the court on criminal accusations. The wife and daughters are alleged to be bad characters. The wife and daughters.
Bad characters.
12-year-old girl, bad character. Burn her up in a house. Put a long dress on her, tell her to cook dinner. I don't know what to say. Holy shit. Okay, so they're also bad characters. And the younger children guilty of petty thievery. Judge Wilson had ordered the younger Turner boy taken to the industrial school as to remove him from the influence of his home. His parents are a bad influence.
Horrible. His siblings and parents.
Which was regarded as of the worst, is how they put it in the newspaper.
House of ill repute, James. Minus the repute.
We need houses of the worst. As of the worst. Those are good. You know what goes on in there. So they said that Turner's counsel had taken pains to entertain any discriminating views when they drew their client's response and attacked the characters of Mrs. Heyman and Mr. Flexner. Mr. Bruce answered that he had not intended such attacks in Turner's response. We didn't mean to attack them. We were just saying that they were incompetent thieves.
They're clearly awful people.
They just take bribes at their jobs.
We just wanted you all to know.
Oh, Jesus. They said Benjamin F. Washer for the Commonwealth argued that the reply was pertinent to the issue because it bore directly on Turner's character and the character of the members of his family. His children, they're talking about. He said further that the reply had been drawn in moderation and that every allegation it contained could be backed up by overwhelming proof. In ordering the reply to be made at part of the record, Judge Wilson said that because of the serious charges made against the officers of the juvenile court, taking bribes to release children, the reputation of the Turner family could not stand in the way of an investigation. So he's saying because the Turner family is making such a serious accusation, their character is completely in play in this hearing. Any bad rumors or shit they've done, let's bring it out in the open because we're seeing if we could trust this guy enough to make accusations. So they said Robert Lee Page, Assistant County Attorney, Charles Shield, Benjamin Washer, Bernard Flexer, and Norman Goldsmith are representing the Commonwealth in the case. The hearing of witnesses in this case, for which it is said that over 30 have been summoned, and the hearing of arguments is set for 2:00. Okay, response here.
Here we go.
The complainant of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, in reply to the response filed herein by Robert Turner, would present the facts to the court as these. Here we are. 1. The response of Robert Turner has not been made in good faith. The purpose of filing the same was not to purge the said Turner of the contempt charge against him in circulating the report that he had been approached by officers of the juvenile court in an effort to extort money from him. So they're saying that, he went forward. This wasn't them trying to extort him. He tried to bribe them, and it didn't work, is what they're trying to say.
Okay.
So they say the object of the response is manifestly the effort on the part of the respondent to discredit the juvenile court, disgrace its officers, and prejudice its good influences with the people of the state and city. So they're saying that Johnny Cochran's saying the LAPD fucked OJ, and that's wrong. So the response in every essential allegation is false. Its many and varied falsehoods were known to be such at the time the respondent signed and swore to the pleading. More than this, the falsity of large number of statements contained in the response could easily have been ascertained from an examination of public records. Christ, this is so hard to read. Look at this. Turn your chair. Look at this shit.
It's like a typewriter.
It's a real light scan of this newspaper, and it's fucking brutal.
And it's old, so it's like those printing press. I don't know how anybody read the fucking newspaper. That printing press mash letters together. They don't make any fucking sense.
That's the other thing. Yeah, and they use completely different syntax and words. It's
weird font too.
Man, yeah, weird. Exactly, not a newspaper font. No investigation seems to have been made by those filing the response to ascertain the truth or falsity of the many serious charges contained therein. but upon the naked, unsupported word of a most notorious character. Like, you can't just take this bum, Turkey Bob over here, whose record and known reputation entitles him to no faith or credit, as herein specifically appears. He's known as a bum. You going to take his word for it?
That's what he is, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
The response it filed assailing both the court and its officers. Plainly, the proceeding on the part of the respondent has other and different motives than the legitimate objects of a proceeding in court. The assault comes in the train of a systematic crusade of vilification and abuse, which certain parties and publications have, without the slightest justification or reason, have been conducting. So they're just befouling the good name of this whole institution, all that shit. So they go on to say all of this. Now, here are the deliberate falsehoods. The respondent has knowingly falsified facts in alleging the response he was never able to learn and does not know the charges against his two sons upon which they were presented to juvenile court. So he's saying he doesn't even know what charges were against his sons.
Why are they even here? Nobody's even telling me that.
Yeah, it is a willful and deliberate untruth on the part of the respondent to say he has not been at all times thoroughly conversant with every phase and feature of the proceeding through which his sons were presented in juvenile court and their cases heard. They're saying he knew exactly what the fuck they did.
Okay.
Period. And now, by the way, this page, Jimmy, look at this one.
Here we go. What is that, handwritten? What is that?
Dude, it looks like it's from fucking Egypt. It looks like it's from ancient Egypt, and I have to decipher it off a fucking cave wall. This is ridiculous.
I love it.
So it's just hard. There's nothing else. This is the information here. It's fucking great. I love it, too. So they said on December 4th, 1906, two petitions were filed in the juvenile court, one against Theodore Turner, our guy, and the other against John Turner, both sons of the respondent Robert Turner. The basis of the petition was that the boys were delinquent under the law, creating the juvenile court. Both boys, or something with juvenile court, both boys were at the time of the petitions, and for years prior thereto, notorious petty thieves. So
just bad seeds
for years prior to the one kid's
from the
15.
Beginning.
Yeah, how many years could he have? Been here? So they are petty thieves here in every, what is this? In every something in which they have, every locality in which they have lived for the past 7 years, they have been known as the perpetrators of many offenses.
Hell yeah.
They move around.
Wow.
They're just trash people that move around until the townsfolk are going to string them up and then they leave.
Yeah, they take the all of the supplies they can muster and live off of it until they're caught
And then they
the
fucking
pilfered shit. Yeah.
move on. Their thievery has included chickens, coal, corn, furniture, tools, and other articles easily portable.
They're like the aliens in Independence Day.
Yeah, anything not nailed down. They're just collecting weird shit.
They're just sucking the resources and leaving.
Yeah. They said they have been under almost constant police surveillance. Well, that's pretty shitty surveillance if they're still stealing all this stuff.
You guys watch it and don't do anything? You fucking lazy bums.
In the latter part of November or the first part of December 1906, Mrs. Somebody was a complainant. Made that shit was stolen from her premises here. What is this? Something officers with Mr. Oh my God, what the fuck? That's really hard to read. I thought I had it down, and then I'm like, that's not the word I thought it was. Other complaints have been made to the police department and the juvenile court, all to be attributed to Turner's children. Okay. The petitions were therefore filed against them, and a hearing in the juvenile court resulted. It was ascertained that, in addition to their record in juvenile crimes, the boys were confirmed truants from school. So how would they have time with all this crime? Right. That they rarely attended school, and then only to disorganize it. When they showed up, it was just to fuck around and cause a disturbance.
Destroy school. Hell yeah.
That sounds fun. That they were beggars of the lowest sort.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the title of this show. Beggars of the lowest sort. That is fucking amazing. Sorts.
I know a kid that was just like this.
Oh, we all know kids, yeah.
And he ended up going to jail for murder.
That's what these guys do eventually, which is funny you said that. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
The beggars of the lowest sort, that their language at all times was depraved. These are children. And scumbags. Their morals the very worst. Both boys smoked, chewed, and prowled the streets at night.
Oh, my kind of guy.
This sounds like when I was 15, this is the life I wanted to live.
Yeah, I love them.
This sounds great. Yeah, smoking and chewing and prowling the streets at night, and never going to school, and then just going in to fuck things up. This sounds like a lot of fun for a 15-year-old.
Hell yeah.
This is great, but not good for your future. Definitely.
No, this will fuck everything.
This will fuck it all up. The home conditions of the boys, the character of their father and mother. Their mother's not just some nice,
she's a shitbag too.
Shriveling flower in the corner. She's just as much into this. The daughters too. Whores and thieves, the whole lot of them. The conduct of their sisters were also learned to be the very worst.
Yeah.
All of them. Record of the children, it says now. The family of Robert Turner consisted of 9 children. See, it's 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
Varying. Theodore and John were the elder boys. I guess he's the oldest, Ted, our guy. Wow. And Susie, the eldest, the elder girls. These girls, although still children of tender years, were and are notorious prostitutes.
What?
They're children.
Notorious.
Not just they turn a trick and they force their daughters to turn a trick to put food on the table once in a while. Notorious prostitutes. Oh, her? Yeah, that 12-year-old's a total whore. Yeah.
You could get her.
Anybody with
2 bits.
5 and 7 are we're doing Deadwood prices. So I wonder what all 3 cost. That's what Nick Go to Change or whatever his name was would asked. Gypsy
Pretty
Rose's
much all
friend
3.
There.
What?
Yeah, all 3. So, yeah, okay. Notorious prostitutes, even though they're children of tender years. How about get them away from their abusive pimp parents?
Yeah.
And fucking help these kids.
Teach them their ABCs, because I'm sure they don't read.
Probably not. I don't know how you'd have time. When there's a dick in your face, it's difficult to read a book. Notorious prostitutes
trying to read if you give a mouse a cookie. Excuse me.
Jesus. Love it. Having been discovered frequently in houses of ill repute, and also, brothels, bordellos, also in other places in illicit intercourse with boys and men.
Golly.
They catch children fucking, and they're like, get over here, you little skank. Like, why are men having sex with 12-year-olds? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Why are we arresting her?
Yeah. Guy's like, I paid good money to have sex with this child. What? What are we talking about? All the girls are also habitual truants from school and were beggars like the younger boys.
Little pieces of shit.
Little begging, yeah. Selling chiclets on the street and shit.
And their ass.
And their ass, whatever you want. What do you want? Chiclets? My ass? It's all for sale.
Chiclets or ass?
Chiclets or ass. And we can laugh at this because all these people will be long dead no matter what. So
certainly. And this is the lifestyle that the history of America is befouled and disgusting.
It's all gross. It's absolutely all disgusting. And
selling children is the oldest form of commerce. Oh, God damn it.
Whenever there's pictures of turn of the century times and they show it's old pictures, look on any social media, there'll be all these comments those are the good old days when people had class and all. No, they didn't. 3% of the people dressed real nice and took pictures. Everybody else fucked children for money. That's what everyone else was doing and stole chickens, and it was just fucking filthy, and they died when they were 27 from a curable disease, and the whole thing's a mess.
Yeah.
Jesus, Al Capone was the most powerful organized crime member in the country, and he died of syphilis. Think about that.
It went from his dick to his brain.
Yes. That's how little control we had over anything back then. Tell me this shit was better. There's girls in trouble.
The man was public enemy number one. That's where the phrase came from. And he was locked into Alcatraz. They let him out because the syphilis was killing him.
Yeah, you're too fucked up for here. The language of the girls was also so indecent that reputable witnesses hesitated to repeat it. Filthy gutter mouths.
Imagine a 12-year-old saying the worst thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, these girls are like Trixie from the Gem on Deadwood, all of them.
Yeah, way worse.
Worse. One of the two elder girls, Susie, has been the mother of a bastard child. Of course she has. And the prosecuting witness is a bastard proceeding heretofore pending in court. The prosecuting witness is a bastard proceeding heretofore. Oh, I guess they're having a hearing over that.
The witness is a bastard too?
Pending in court. The prosecuting witness in a bastard proceeding heretofore. Oh, I guess she is suing a guy for making her child a bastard and not taking care of it. I got it. Okay, that's hard to figure out. The remaining girls of the Turner family are being raised in the ways of their two sisters just mentioned and are already notorious in their locality for many offendings against decency and morality. Both the younger boys and girls were permitted by the parents to run about the streets entirely naked. What? And such conduct only stopped upon protest of the neighbors. Just put fucking pants on.
Children's dicks,
yeah. Put fucking pants on. Yeah, you're 11. Imagine 11 naked kids running around all the time. That's creepy.
Guy across the street. If I can't do it, y'all can't.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. But they'd be like, you can just give her $1, and you know,
give her 12. I don't know.
Fuck it. After the filing of the petitions against Theodore and John Turner, processes issued, and the boys were regularly brought into the court for the hearing. The respondent, Robert Turner, was notified at the time the boys were taken into custody, appeared the same day at the probation office of the juvenile court, and had the children paroled to him. On December 7th, 1906, the juvenile court, on its regular session, considered fully the cases of Theodore and John Turner, with all the circumstances and conditions before it, decided that both boys were delinquent and that the interest and welfare of both dictated that they should be taken from the control of their father and placed for better education and training in the Louisville Industrial School of Reform. Mm-hmm. For once, I agree.
Yeah.
It's never good to throw children in a reform school but this is their parents? Fucking, you say they're just going to learn things from bad kids in there.
Yeah.
They don't know as much as their father probably. So he'll be teaching those kids. That's fucking crazy.
They might know a little bit more than him. Christ.
Yeah, that's exactly. The respondent, Robert Turner, was in court throughout the entire hearing of the cases of Theodore and John Turner, participated in the proceedings, and understood fully every step taken and every order entered. So they're saying he lied when he wrote an affidavit saying that he didn't know what the charges were against the kids because he was at 3 hearings. That knowledge he continued to possess at the time he swore the falsehoods of his response. So, So anyway, they were they said that they released Ted because he was either 16 or 17. And he was aged out of this whole thing because they said he was 17, I guess, and that made it easier. So John Turner, under the order of juvenile court, was taken to the industrial school where he still remains.
Wow.
And it is the release of this boy and the record and home surroundings as an appearance that the respondent attempts to. So he's trying to get them out, and they're saying his house is too fucked up. He can't have his kid.
Right. These are not for you. You've ruined so many. Why do you think you can just take these back?
And have them do all the same shit. If we hold them, at least they're not stealing everybody's chickens.
Exactly.
So Robert Turner's earlier earlier career, this is one of those really bad pages, was spent in Boyle and Jessamine, from the former of which he had to escape criminal indictment and now pleading in the Boyle court. So he's going from place to place, running from cases, is what they're saying, basically. He had previously been indicted, convicted, and contained in the state penitentiary. After leaving the Boyle County, Turner located for a short time in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and from that place he moved to this area some 7 or 8 years ago, to Louisville. He has, during his residence in the city, occupied a number of homes, moving with great frequency from one locality to the other. They're saying he is notorious in every portion of the area. Every place he's lived. They said that, where is this? Jesus, this is hard to read. Oh, there was a tax bill he fucked up. He has made a practice of chicken stealing.
Yep.
And has been barred from saloons, all of them.
Oh.
Not allowed in anymore. From which he has sought to frequent on account of stealing liquor.
Okay.
He's such a thief, he goes to bars and tries to steal liquor.
Outstanding.
Wow. He has admitted to numerous parties that he could, quote, skin people at cards, and to offers he made the proposition a skin game. He started with himself as the chief operator. He has attempted to start illicit whiskey stills, admitting that he was very adept in the manufacture of moonshine goods.
Okay.
Moonshine goods. Turner has therefore heretofore been connected with attempts to bribe public officers. He sought to stop a criminal proceeding in the court of some lawyer here, I can't know, constable, $15 to suppress. Oh, he tried to bribe somebody else too. He offered police officers money in an attempt to release John Turner, and in every case he has been rebuked. Robert Turner has been in Louisville for about 8 years, and the largest part of that entire time has been spent in crime. None of his family has during that time worked. Nobody's worked in 8 years.
Wow.
Nobody.
How do you? That's
why he's got to
thieving
keep
then,
moving.
obviously.
Yeah, he thieves to be able to get into a place and then doesn't pay the rent till he gets kicked out.
8 years.
8 years of that. That is some kind of life. The residents of several localities where he has lived wonder at his means of sustenance and that of his family. How do you feed 11 kids on no job?
Yeah, right.
During the excitement incident, to the murder of Mrs. John Falley, Robert Turner became conspicuous in an attempt to swear away the life of an innocent man, whom he conspired to convict of the murder for the purpose of obtaining the reward offered by the governor. He tried to frame a man for murder so he could get a reward for the fucking thing. That is awesome. Wow. Turner and his brother-in-law, one Lax, it looks like his name is, reported to the police that they could and would discover the murderer if reward was paid to them in full. Accordingly, they charged a certain Negro with having committed the crime. Certain.
Jesus Christ.
After the investigation, the falsity of the charge was ascertained, and Lax confessed to the police that the whole matter was a, quote, job framed up by Robert Turner. The time of Robert Turner is spent largely in saloons and low gambling houses, not even good ones. He's a frequent visitor to dives frequented by Negroes. He's not hanging out with black people, is he? Jesus. He's a drunkard of the worst kind, and when drunk is a brawler always looking for trouble. He just sounds like a wonderful man.
Yeah. When he's sober, he's scheming. When he's drunk, he's fighting.
He's looking for shit. There's no one in the Commonwealth of Kentucky more unfit to have custody and the raising of children than Robert Turner, the perpetrator of every crime, the patron of every vice. That is what the prosecutor said. Then the next article, or the next part of their prosecution's case, is Unspeakable Depravity is the title.
Unspeakable.
Unspeakable. So let's speak of them.
Let's say it.
The home surroundings of the Turner family have been at all times and now are fatal to the development of every worthy trait in children. The 2 or 3 rooms tenanted by the family with 11 kids,
Jesus,
holy shit, are choked with dirt and filth of every kind. Ugh.
Yeah.
No effort is made to preserve any of the decencies of family life. The girls dress and undress in plain view of other members of the household and the public. Yeah, because it's for sale. That's called he's got like a store window is what that is. Gross. Ugh. On several occasions, the neighbors have protested against the girls using windows on public highways for purposes calling for the completest privacy. They're on public highways in front of them, like displaying themselves.
Like fucking...
like
Amsterdam.
Red light district. Yeah. Red light district
Jesus.
Shit. Yeah. Several
you
members...
Have this.
That's how fucked up is that?
Like a Carvana.
Yeah. Just in a big fucking... in a big plastic tube. Oh,
big
man.
vending machine of teenage vagina. That's no good.
It's disgusting. Several members of the family employ the floors of the home for purposes not to be mentioned in this reply. In other words, they're fucking all over the floors. Oh, they're like mice.
Gross.
They live like mice. The visitors at the house consist to a large extent of disreputable women, thieves, disreputable and immoral persons, including Negroes of the lowest sort.
Why?
Of the lowest sort.
Why bring it?
I don't know. It is known throughout the the neighborhood where Turner lived that one of his daughters kept company with a Negro. And that she was ejected from a Negro dance hall because of bad conduct.
She was beneath them.
Beneath the lowest sort of Negro, as they put it. This is wild.
What a thing to write.
What a fucking crazy shit. And as illustrating the behavior of Mrs. Turner, the wife of the respondent and mother of the children herein referred to, mention is made of the fact that she enters public bar rooms and drinks whiskey there. Oh my God! Not whiskey in a bar.
Isn't that what you drink there?
Yeah, but respectable women don't go to saloons back in the day. Is the thing here. That on one occasion she borrowed from the proprietor of a neighboring saloon $2.50 on the plea that her children were starving and her husband sick.
Please, sir, may I have $2.50?
So I can feed my family and cure my husband.
Yeah.
You get a lot done for a little money back then, I'll say that.
$2.50.
$2.50. You could fucking get it all done. These statements were found to be untrue, and the money was afterward employed for drink and dissipation. Dissipation, yeah, that's what it says. The home surroundings of the respondent are depraved, the home life demoralized, and the entire atmosphere calculated to develop in children those tendencies which make criminals.
Right.
They found the perfect breeding ground for criminals. You know, like they find soil that plants
them.
grow well in, or like the perfect habitat for an animal. This is the perfect habitat for criminal growing right here.
To grow a criminal.
Grow a crop of criminals. That's nice.
Like those little pellets you used to buy at the grocery store that you just drop in water and it makes a little foam dino.
Oh, those are great. Yeah, those fucking or like a shrinky dink, but reverse.
Sea monkeys.
No more
criminals.
No more unfit or improper place for the training and education of the young could be found than the Turner home. Literally ground zero, worst place you could fucking raise a child.
Right.
The respondent willfully and deliberately stated a further untruth in the allegation of his response to the effect that Mrs. Kate Hyman let's not call her Hyman if it's not the name, introduced the respondent to a man who she stated was the county attorney of Jefferson County, when in fact the man was not the county attorney. The truth, as exhibited by the affidavit of Bernard Flexner, Esquire, is as follows. The respondent, Robert Turner, after the commitment of John Turner to the School of Reform, came to the probation office of the juvenile court for the purpose of attempting the release of his son. He was accompanied by his attorney, Mr. Tate, and now associated with Colonel Bennett H. Young. Mr. Tate was personally acquainted with both Mr. Bingham and the county attorney, or Mr. Bingham, the county attorney, and Mr. Flexner, chairman of the board of visitation of the juvenile court, or vilification. I can't read it, so I don't know. While Turner and his attorney were in the probation office, Mr. Flexner came in and was introduced to Turner as a gentleman interested in the juvenile court, the chairman of the board of visitation, and if Turner had objection to the case of John, might be discussed in Flexner's presence. Turner once approved of Mr. Flexner being conferred with, and a brief discussion of the case resulted. At the conclusion, Turner was told that the matter would be brought to the attention of Judge Wilson and blah, blah, blah. So they're saying he came in, tried to get his son released through normal means, and then he said that he bribed people.
Okay.
And he's trying to get the whole thing dismissed based on the fact that he's bribing people. It's another scam that he does here.
Yeah.
So they go on to say that, they talk about the engaged in conversation, and I guess he was trying to bribe them. This was the entire connection of the forsting. What is that? Oh, I can't read it. It's all fucking blotted out with Turner in the case of his son. So, okay, Robert Turner here. I don't know what the result of that was, by the way, that whole thing. But I don't know what the result of the case was.
Right. That's what they're involved in, though.
That's what they're involved in. That's the table set of who these people are. Okay? He
bribing
grows up
to get children out of jail.
Yeah, he grows up in a brothel that's not as clean as a brothel.
Right.
Where the young sisters fucking present their wares in the windows on the highways to get customers.
Right.
And obviously there's Negroes of the lowest sort all about. So
what a time and place.
What a time and place. His father did several prison terms.
Really?
Later on, he'll be convicted in 1912 for stealing chickens, and he's sentenced to 1 to 8 years in prison. His father.
1 to how many?
1 to 8, which is a big window.
Yeah, it's a hell of a window. I thought you said 18, though. That's a lot bigger.
That would have been even worse, even bigger window.
But 1 to 8 on chicken theft? That's a...
Well, we'll explain it with this article here from the Lexington Herald Leader from January 5th, 1912. Title is in giant, bold, fucking capital letters, Chicken Thief. Yeah. Bob Turner, formerly of Mercer County, steals 8 years worth of fowls, is what it says.
Oh, he's done it for years.
Well, he got 8 years, they're saying. So it was 8 years worth of chickens, I think is what they're getting at. He was sentenced to 8 years in the penitentiary in Jeffersonville. He's been doing it for way longer than 8 years.
Probably. Yeah.
In Indiana last week for stealing a lot of turkeys and chickens.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a whole like a lot in a city,
measurement, or are they just saying, I don't know,
shitload?
A lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, is this like a full city lot of chickens?
We're not sure how many particularly, but it was definitely a lot.
Turkeys and chickens. On one occasion, when Turner lived in Harrodsburg, I've never heard of that place, he, Abe Maples, and James Neekirk went up to Dry Branch Pike with 2 wagons in the broad daylight, visited the poultry yards of several farmers, and got several hundred chickens.
Oh, boy.
That's not just stealing a chicken for dinner. That's hundreds. They were arrested, but in court, the wives of the 3 men, with 12 or 15 half-clad children, presented such a pitiful sight that they were released with the understanding they leave the county. They just said, just get the fuck out of here. Take your ragtag, rickets, and scurvy-laden children the fuck out of our goddamn county. This is pathetic.
Wow.
So that was the how that he got out of that shit. They'd look pathetic, and you could bring all these kids in there. They obeyed the mandate of the court, but later Turner came back and stole a bunch of hogs from Major Castleman at Shakertown and drove them away in daytime. Inquiry for the missing hogs elicited the information that Turner had been seen driving hogs near Salvisa, about 20 miles away. He was overtaken, and the hogs he was driving proved to be the ones that he had stolen from Major Castleman. Not going to be a coincidence. They're probably not his hogs. If you see this guy with animals, he stole them.
They're not his, yeah.
No. For this, Turner was sent to the penitentiary, but a kind-hearted governor turned him loose on a long-suffering public. He got, pardoned.
Right.
Turner and his gang are believed to have been the ones who murdered Mr. Castle, one of the wealthiest farmers in Jessamine County, who went out in the yard one night to investigate a noise in his hen house and was shot down. So these people will murder you.
No kidding.
This is a lot, man. After being sentenced at Jeffersonville last week, Turner created a sensation. Fuck, that's hard to read. God damn it. By ramming his head against a post as if trying to commit suicide.
Holy.
So he got sentenced to this time, got in jail, and tried to bash his head in and commit suicide.
Right.
Wow. His wife...
Nobody's done that recently, right?
I've never heard of that as a way to commit suicide.
Destroyed your own dome.
Just bashing your head into something till you die? That seems like a lot. I've heard of like people with mental illness doing it in prison to get attention to be able to get to the medical shit or whatever, but not like just, I'm going to kill myself this way.
An attempt to end this sentence.
It's a bad plan. As if committing suicide. His wife and children who were present added to the excitement by screaming at the top of their voices when he got sentenced. After moving from this place to Louisville, Turner was arrested for chicken stealing, and while in charge of an officer, slashed his throat in a presented effort to slay himself.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in custody and tried to slash his throat.
Yeah.
He had been in trouble a score of times, and nearly every instance it was a case of chicken stealing. He fucking loves it. Right under this, by the way, in other news, it says, quote, girls disappear by the hundreds.
Hundreds?
That seems like a lot. Amazing number of baffling cases reported to Gotham police in 1911.
Gotham?
New York, yeah.
That was a real place?
No, they just call New York Gotham always. That's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why Batman, they called
I didn't
the city
know that.
Gotham. Yeah, they called New York Gotham City in the 1800s.
I thought D.C. just made that shit up.
No, that was that's what we just had. I just had this conversation yesterday with somebody where they isn't that weird? That's fucking that's funny. So during the year 1911 here, the New York police were called to the aid of families from which some members had disappeared exactly 3,500 times. And during the same time, approximately 1,000 women, most of them young girls ranging in age from 14 to 20, have utterly disappeared.
Yeah, what happened?
It's weird, right? And we go, serial killers, a modern day phenomenon. No, they're not. No. People were doing this for a long time.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom. but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Nor does the number cover all the young women who drop out of the world on their own acquaintances suddenly. The police say that not more than half of the actual disappearances are formally reported. During 1911, a police official commented on the figures, quote, "We have been confronted with hundreds of cases similar in every degree to that of Dorothy Arnold. Many other cases are just as baffling as hers. The young girls left absolutely no trace behind. They made no preparations for departure, and few have since been heard from." Yes, they've been murdered and thrown in a river. That's why.
They've been raped and murdered, man.
That's how it goes.
Maybe fucking pulled apart. You don't know. It could be way worse than just
who knows? Or sold to some Western frontier brothel. You don't have no fucking idea. So we maintain a Bureau of Missing Persons, especially to carry on the work of search. Our investigations show that there are 4 reasons which cover most of the disappearances. First, severe home restraint. Too strict.
Too strict around here. I'm out.
Second, extreme poverty. Well, yeah, you're just going to try to find food. Third, theatrical aspirations. That's the third. That's the third leading cause of a young woman to disappear.
They want to be an actress.
Too strict, extreme poverty. I need the theater. I must dance. Those are the only 3 reasons why girls run away.
Either I'm tired of you telling me what to do, I'm tired of not having any food, or Broadway is calling.
Broadway is calling. Yeah, because this is like movies just started and there's no, this is fucking crazy. Broadway is calling. Yep, I got to get to Broadway.
I got to call back. I got to go.
How fucking bonkers is that?
That's too funny. And the poverty part is probably lending towards family sold her too. You know
that
what I mean?
Also, yes, that happened a lot. If you watch Deadwood, every single one of the prostitutes who's talked to, every one of them's like, when Pa sold me to you,
right?
When I was 12, like that's how they all got there.
Crazy.
They were poor. Mom died, couldn't take care of him. Get out of here. And the 4th reason, lured away.
Okay, that's
by
the 4th. I'll bet it's higher.
None of those say taken by fucking sex murderers, because that's a lot. There's a 5th fucking category there.
Kidnapped by predator.
5th estate. So, wow. So also, Dad had been, he'd admitted he'd been jailed once before for using intoxicants. When he was, by the way, trying to cut his own throat while in police custody was with a piece of tin.
Like a top of a can?
Like a top of a, he found a piece of tin, grabbed it, and started slashing at his throat.
Good Lord.
Because he's being arrested for chicken stealing and drinking.
I'll kill myself over this.
Yeah, I could see if you killed 14 women and you were like, I'm going away forever. They're going to hang me. So he, this is the article, cuts his throat while under arrest here. After having been arrested for stealing chickens from John Pilkington, Robert Turner, living on the Newton Pike, finally an article I can fucking see and read, near Yellowman Town, attempted to kill himself on Thursday afternoon, but was prevented from doing so by County Detective William Jenkins, the arresting officer. Captain Jenkins had learned Turner early in the day, had committed him to the county jail on the charge of stealing chickens from Pilkington, who resides on the Stone Road near the right-of-way at whatever the fuck this railroad company is. Later, Captain Jenkins took the prisoner to Pilkington residence for a more complete identification. Is this the asshole?
I guess.
Captain Jenkins left the prisoner with Mr. Pilkington and walked a short distance away and talked to some section men. Imagine if that happened now. You took a criminal in to be identified by the complaining party. He's not restrained in any way, and the cop just walks away to chit-chat with other people, leaving the criminal and the fucking victim who just identified him in the crime.
Standing right next to each other.
Wow. Quite a one-way mirror lineup, right? What the fuck? So that's fucking funny. And rather than attacking the guy, though, he attacked him. When the officer returned, Turner asked what they had said. Captain Jenkins replied, "They say you are undoubtedly the man who stole the chickens." Turner then pulled something out of his pocket and slashed his throat, which bled profusely. The officer grabbed Turner and found that the weapon used was a piece of tin. Turner struggled to release himself in the act, Captain Jenkins received a minor cut on the hand. The officer took the prisoner to the county jail, where he was wound was dressed and all that kind of shit there. And more people have been arrested. It said that there's a fifth man now, a chicken stealing ring essentially, has been arrested on the charge of stealing fowls in the last few days. He's sentenced to prison, so we know he's there for 1 to 8 years, but he's pardoned again. He must know the governor, or the governor must frequent one of his daughters or something. I don't know.
Or somebody just doesn't see chicken theft as the penalty deserved that it's getting.
Yeah, maybe it was a political issue back in the day, but at the same time, how the fuck does a lowly scumbag chicken thief get his case in front of the governor to where they would give a shit? You know what I mean? The governors pardon 3% of people based on injustice and 97% based on I know that guy. You know what I mean? That's what presidents and fucking governors, that's what they do. Right. So it's very hard to get a case in front of them for true injustice of someone they don't know. Then he was arrested again for stealing chickens right after that.
Unbelievable.
The government has to be pissed about that. So 1916 now, Bob Turner, formerly of Boyle County, still at his old game of stealing chickens, fowls. Robert Turner, aged 50, was arrested at noon today by William White, who is a sheriff's deputy, and Edward Morgan on a charge of stealing chickens. Was letter... Jesus Christ. Something in the page. Stealing, why chickens? He's obsessed with chickens.
Well, it's the bottom rung. It's like stealing water or or electricity.
But he's stealing them to sell them, though.
Is he really? He's not stealing them to eat them?
Well, he stole truckloads. They stole hundreds of them the one time.
You can't want to raise those.
But here he was identified as by John Ray as the man who stole 10 fowls from the yard of Mrs. John Clugston. So he's just going to someone's yard and rounding up their 10 chickens and stealing them.
But how do you steal 10? I don't know how he does.
That's the lowest rung. One at a time, I believe, would be the easiest way.
Yeah, it's got to be. Unless you're grabbing handfuls of feet and running away.
I don't know how you would do that. Maybe 2 at a time if you're real good. But otherwise,
unless you got a real big bag? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Big sack is the key. I don't know. If you put a bunch of chickens in a sack together, go kill each other,
loud.
I think, probably. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to contain that.
No.
It'd be like a Heathcliff fight. It would be horrible. So Friday afternoon, John Ray, who lives a mile from the city limits on the Winchester Road, observed a suspicious-looking man with 2 sacks hung on his back. There you go.
It is. It's sacks of chickens.
Sacks of chickens peering over into his backyard. Any chickens to steal in there?
He's grabbing them in a bag.
By the bag load. He doesn't sell them by the bucket. He sells them by the burlap sack full.
2 sacks of chickens.
As he approached, the man fled and Ray gave chase. He was heard by Matt Jeter, Derek's grandfather, and Foster Helm, who joined in. Jeter on horseback and Helm on foot through the cornfield. Being pursued too closely, Turner dropped the sack containing the chickens and made good his escape. He tried to get away with the chickens first.
He's going to keep them.
9 of the fowls were dead. Yes, because they killed each other in the fucking goddamn sack.
Or because you were running with those slung over your back and they're just bouncing off your back.
Bouncing all around.
Just beating them to death on your back.
If they were alive, they would have been pecking you in the back through the bag, probably. They were taken back to the home of John Clugston and identified as her chickens, dead chickens.
And then buried.
Yeah. Deputy Sheriff made into dinner. Said, I know what we're having tonight. Deputy Sheriff Ben Freckman was immediately notified and went to work on the case of capturing Turner today on Georgetown Street. When seen by a leader reporter that afternoon, Turner denied all knowledge of the alleged theft, saying that he was practically a dead man as he'd been given about 3 months to live by the doctors, and that if he was guilty, he would admit it. So before the cops catch up to him, the paper hears that they're looking for him, so they find him, and they're like, what of this?
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, I didn't do it. I'm going to croak soon. Trust me, if I was a criminal, I'd tell you.
Sure.
He showed the reporter a large cavity on the right side of his head behind the ear.
Ew.
Which he said had been made by an operation for cancer a short time ago.
They drilled my head.
Yeah, a 1912 brain cancer surgery. That had to be safe.
It's still open?
I guess he's got a big hole. They didn't fill it back in with anything. It was stated at the sheriff's office that Turner is an old offender at chicken stealing. It said that he'd been in the penitentiary for the same offense. So he ends up pleading ignorance to the crime at this point to the reporter, saying he had cancer. Meanwhile, that's Dad. Ted, on the other hand, has taken to baseball.
Really?
By the way, this is Crime and Sports, remember?
Right.
He made his professional debut pitching for the Lexington Colts of the Bluegrass League in 1912.
He's a pitcher.
He's a pitcher. Don't have stats for the Bluegrass League of 1912. No. But his
dad has a hole in his head, James. No, we don't have stats.
We don't have that.
No wood putty or at least a cork, nothing. He's got a hole in his head.
All of his little sisters are prostitutes. We don't have stats.
We don't know what he does.
We don't know. But he did lose a 5-4 game to Paris, whatever team that is, August 3rd, I think, despite playing well. The locals could not hit Turner very successfully, but their hits came at the time when they were most needed. That's what the newspaper, the Bourbon News of Paris, reported.
First through sixth inning, hitless, but seventh, eighth, and ninth, he was beaning them.
So here's a little bit of baseball. In 1913, he's on the Columbus Senators, a double-A team, apparently. And some people on this team, old Dixie Davis. We all know of old Dixie Davis.
Big fan.
Usually I love a Skeeter Shelton we got. That's good.
Nobody goes by their real name.
No, these old-timey teams had so many good names. King Cole is on the team, who then had a son named Nat. Yeah, old King Cole is on the team. I will call him old King Cole. Old King Cole had a 146 batting average. So
no, not bad.
That's terrible. That is very bad. The guy leading
he's a crooner,
team.
James. He's not
What
much
do you
of a
want
ball.
from the guy?
Not much of a ball player.
This is his dad, though. He's got crooner seed. His
son's got a great Christmas album.
Oh, man, it's going to be for years and years and years. Make fucking attractive daughters who win Miss Americas. No, that wasn't him.
No. Nat King Cole didn't do anything.
Natalie Cole is a singer, but she wasn't Miss America.
And she was also drowned off a boat by probably Christopher Walken and his friend.
Yes, I think so. No, that was totally different. It's Natalie Wood.
Mixing up everybody now.
Natalie's. Let's mix them all up. Let's just make up shit, and then we'll do an episode of made up celebrity
create our
gossip.
own history of Hollywood and famous people and their demise.
We can fucking do it. This year, Ted Turner was he's only 21 years old. He was 2-1 as a pitcher in 14 games. I think he's a reliever here. King Cole, by the way, 23-11, so he doesn't have to hit. Good for him.
Shit, he's a pitcher.
Yeah, King Cole's a pitcher.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't have a good batting average.
Yeah, he's slinging crooner seed.
Yeah.
1914, the Springfield Reapers, which is a great name.
It's terrific.
That is great, man. Of the Central League, I don't know what, like it's AA, AAA. It says classification B. I don't know what that is.
B team.
B team here. We got Dick Donovan as a. That's a kind of a fun name. Otherwise, we have not a lot of fun names here. A lot of Franks and Joes and Williams and Georges.
A lot of Billies.
Yeah, Bill Keane. There he is. Yeah. An Otto. Got to have a German guy in there.
Sure.
Not bad. Ted Turner this year has 13 wins and 16 losses in 223 innings pitched and gives up 218 hits in that. So, I mean, not great, not terrible. One of those.
No, yeah.
He spent 3 years playing in Ohio during this time. He wins, what is it? Oh, yeah, this year he's 13-16 and has looks like about a 4-something ERA, 4.79 possible ERA here. But he also has to have an off season. This guy, what's he going to do? I don't know how this guy ever plays baseball because he should always be in jail. Like, that's how this works. So, Lexington Herald Leader again, December 26, 1914, so Christmas. Arrested for shooting is the headline.
Yeah.
Theodore Turner, who shot Thomas Sloan in the leg, arrested for shooting a guy, not just shooting a gun off in town, in a row in J.D. Stamper's saloon in Forest Hill, was arrested by Patrolman Henry yesterday morning and locked up. Turner said that Sloan was creating a disturbance in the saloon.
So I fixed it.
And drew a gun, pointing it at several of the men in the place. Quote, "When he pulled it on me, I shot him," said Turner. Sloan was shot in the leg and is not seriously hurt. He was taken to the hospital.
Self-defense.
Self-defense is what he's saying. Right below that, by the way, get very excited because the Pigeon Show is coming to Lexington, everybody. Yep. I.J. Engel, Lexington's pigeon fancier, That means he fucks them in my book.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Is making an interesting display of some of his finest birds in the Phoenix Hotel storeroom on Main Street. Come down to the storeroom.
Come look at pigeons?
Yeah, Mr. Engel is also showing bantam poultry, which is again coming in favor as pets for children. I don't even know what that is.
Just novelty, like decorative chickens?
These are fancy chickens. You don't need them.
Toy chickens?
February 17th, 1915, so before the next season, the Turner Sloan case was disposed of in police court, at least temporarily yesterday, by filing them away with leave. Theodore Turner charged with shooting Thomas Sloan, and Sloan had a double charge, by the way, of carrying a pistol and a blackjack.
Oh.
So he was a troublemaker, the Sloan.
He's a bad man, yeah.
The trouble happened Christmas week, and the cases have been passed 2 or 3 times because of the conditions of Sloan, who was forced to go to hospital to recuperate. William Bush, charged with housebreaking by entering the Florida fruit store on North Limestone Street and stealing $2 from the cash drawer, was transferred to the circuit court. By the way, that's also from this. Another one here, this is right from the newspaper, quote, the most amusing case on the docket was that of breach of the peace against Mary Carr, who had been arrested on a warrant sworn by Ed Graves, a Negro, who charged her with throwing a brick at him. The woman said that she had thrown the brick and that she did mean to hit him, too.
Well, that's a hate crime.
All right. Yeah, that would be. She explained her temper toward Graves by saying that he had thrown a spell on her by casting a, quote, hoodoo powder around her.
You betcha. That's a hate crime.
So she threw a brick at him.
Yeah.
The woman was dismissed on the charge with a warning not to do it again. What the fuck is going on? She was not thought to be mentally right, is what it says. Holy fucking shit.
The lady said he was doing hoodoo. I mean, we can dismiss this, right?
Hoodoo powder. There was powder. Hoodoo powder. You know how that goes. And right under that's an ad for the sales, Jimmy. Mm-hmm. Are you a little thirsty here? I see you got a soda
thirsty.
over here.
I drink constantly.
Grabbed a soda. Well, have you tried drinking Roxacola? Roxakola? Roxacola.
Sweet Beet Drops.
It says under it, in quotes, more than wet. I don't know what that means.
That sounds slippery, man.
That sounds nasty, but I don't want to drink that shit. Okay. 1915 Columbus Senators of AA here.
Yeah.
He is on the team. Any interesting player names? Nope. We got Skeeter again.
Yeah.
Just Skeeter and Dixie and old Eddie Bacon. Oh, Bugs Bennett. There we go.
Bugs.
We
got to go back to that time, man. That's something that can certainly come back, is people having fun, stupid nicknames.
Yeah, Bugs. There's no guys named Dixie and Bugs anymore.
No.
That's what we need. That's good shit right there. Ted was only 0-1 here in 6 games, so I don't know what the hell's going on with Ted. He's not pitching very much, not doing too much. His son is born in 1916.
That'll
here,
do it.
this is, his son is born, and Elmer. That's little Elmer there.
He got an Elmer.
To Theodore and his wife, I guess. Mrs. Theodore H. Turner. That's who had
She doesn't even get a name.
Doesn't even get a name. Spent hours pushing this kid out of her fucking vag and doesn't even get her name in the paper.
Theodore Turner and some gash.
Some fucking gash over here with fucking, I don't know what he's doing.
Theodore Turner and his kid's doorway to the world.
Yeah. Theodore Turner and some prostitute he married, more than likely. So, 1916, Evansville Evas. EVAS. Evas.
That's the team?
That's the team name of the Central League. The manager's name is Punch Knoll.
Yeah.
That's a good name. They're in Evansville, Indiana, this team, obviously. Anybody? Ooh, Oak Henning. There's no guys named Oak anymore.
Oak? No.
Punch also plays.
Oh, is that right?
Punch is a player coach. Like
player manager. I like it.
Like William Peterson in that fucking 80s baseball movie. Yeah, he's that. Jake, Herman, Frank, Larry. Otherwise, nobody fun. That's not fun. Ted this year, 21-16 with a 2.32 ERA in 43 games. Pitched almost, he threw 294 innings.
Jesus.
Which is like 3 years worth nowadays.
Yeah,
they don't let a pitcher go to even 200 anymore. That's
so
crazy.
much pitching.
Yeah, he did great. One of those wins was a no-hitter that was covered in Kentucky newspapers and all of that. The fun part is, though, that he's on the lam.
Oh, he's running.
So when you're on the lam, you shouldn't do things that are good enough to be put in the newspaper, because guess what happens?
You can't be on the lam throwing no hitters.
Yeah, if you should have just gave up one hit on purpose just to fucking not be in the paper. And it says here, Lexington Herald leader, Turner pitches no hit game, and this gave him away to officers.
Then they knew.
Yep. A no-hit game pitched for the Evansville Central League Baseball Club gave pitcher Theodore Turner so much prominence the other day that his whereabouts became known to Deputy Sheriff Ben Freckman. Telegraphic
for him. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Telegraphic advices to the police at Evansville resulted in the arrest of pitcher Turner on a warrant charging robbery.
Hilarious.
He's wanted for robbery. Yeah. The charge grew out of an indictment returned by the Fayette County grand jury on April 14th, alleging that Turner, in company with Charles White, robbed Charles Gilbert of a watch, a stick pin, and some money somewhere on Dewey's Street.
Okay.
Just straight mugging people. Street robberies.
Pitching no hitters is street robbing, folks.
Pulling up street robberies. This is fucking insanity. So the bench warrant had been in the hands of Deputy Sheriff Freakman for service ever since, but Turner could not be located. The newspaper report of a no-hit game pitched by Turner fell under the eye of Deputy Sheriff Freakman, and the instructions were transmitted to the Evansville police at once. A telephone message was received Sunday by Sheriff Bradley that Turner was under arrest and awaiting an officer from Lexington. Deputy Sheriff William White will leave Tuesday morning for Evansville and bring Turner back to face trial.
And he's splitting the booty. He's splitting the reward 3 ways.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
For street muggings. Yeah. This is fucking asinine.
There's no money in that.
No. So it says on April 19th, 1916, Turner must stand trial at Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they decide that he's going to stand trial on an indictment of robbery returned by the Fayette County grand jury. So they indicted him. Turner is a well-known baseball player in the Bluegrass and Central Leagues and the American Association, is charged with complicity with Charles White, now lodged in the jail. Gilbert said he lost a good watch, a diamond pin, and some money. That's what they took.
My
good
watch.
watch.
Yeah.
My good watch. Yeah, and this is the day when, like, the local baseball team wasn't like a bunch of but people knew who they were. They were like, there was hundreds and hundreds of leagues and teams all throughout the country, and they were a big deal. That goes all the way up through the 60s, where there's a lot of small town teams that, like, the dairy will sponsor a team like League of Their Own, and everyone comes and watches. It's like a big deal. So this is before the minor leagues too. So this is essentially the minor leagues. So yeah, he's going to be held over there. By the way, when he gets out of all this, he should really take up this next ad, Jimmy, underneath it. It says, get it, Oxytonic. Oxy-tonic, the body cleaner.
Oh, it's OxyClean for your lungs.
Yeah, the germicide for the stomach, liver, and bowels to clean your shit out. It says, the big appetite producer. So yeah, you clean all your shit out and you need to eat more.
Make you hungry, sure.
50 cents and $1. Get away from that tired feeling.
Okay.
Everybody was so concerned with shitting back then. That was
Truly,
medical science was shit as much as possible. That's all we have.
Get it out, yeah.
We have nothing else. No, medicine, I'm sorry, no. Just shit as much as you can.
Right.
April 22nd, 1916, Turner returns to defend himself of a robbery charge, gives a $300 bond. Mm-hmm. Wow. I bet that was the baseball team, by the way.
Right.
He went back to play baseball.
Really?
So, yeah, they had to put up a fee for him, and then he got to go play baseball, which is fucking amazing. They said Turner was in Evansville where he was doing remarkable mound work for the River team when the bench warrant was sent there. That's fucking hilarious. 1916, August 17th, Dad again, quote, here's a headline, in toils, Bob Turner, formerly of Boyle County, still at his old game of stealing fowls. 1916. He's 50 years old, Dad, here.
Well, he's in the system now, and he's got to go back to that old game.
Well, anytime anybody goes outside and goes, I thought I had more chickens than this, they just go arrest him. They know it's him. And guess who he was arrested by? Deputy Sheriff Ben Freckman again.
Oh, that guy.
The whole fucking family. Yeah, on charges of stealing chickens, which is fucking hilarious. So, yeah, he's stealing more chickens and doing all that kind of shit. This is, obviously, he's got cancer. Then, here's another ad, Miller's antiseptic oil, known as snake oil, literally known as snake oil. Accomplishing most wonderful results. Holy shit.
Heard yet.
No. Mrs. E. Montgomery, Route 1, Jackson, Mississippi states, morphine alone would relieve me of my suffering.
Morphine alone?
Morphine alone.
I would hope so.
I just took morphine and that worked for a while. Are you kidding? Morphine? Okay. Would relieve me of my suffering until I tried Miller's oil. I'm sure that's much better than morphine. Yeah. Which gave me such quick results. I've used it for rheumatism, stiff swollen joints, neuralgia, pains in my limbs, and after I applied it to the affected parts, the pains disappeared. And I'm thankful to say I have had no use for dope of any kind since. Okay, good. That's great.
Just this dope. This is clearly dope.
It is. I will never be without a bottle of this wonderful oil in my home. No, this is something else addictive that they gave you. There's probably meth in this.
It's a topical. It's got to have cocaine or something that's liquid absorbable.
Yeah, cocaine's a number too back then. It is a pleasure for me to recommend it to my friends and the public in this manner. Oh, boy. So, yeah, this wonderful oil. It should be in every home, it says. Just keep it up there. So
somebody said that about Coke one day, too.
This should be in every home as they fucking quickly vacuumed and cleaned up and got all their work done.
Grind their molars.
Shit. The Lexington Herald, September 14th, 1916. Bondsman withdraws and Turner is arrested. So Ted Turner's back in the clink here. He's been pitching for Evansville team of the Central League and returned home a day or two ago following the close of the league season. Was arrested last night by, guess who? Deputy Sheriff Ben Freckman. He should just fucking keep an eye on both of these guys because he's going to arrest them.
That's his job, yeah.
Constantly. He's lodged in jail on a charge of robbery. They withdrew the bond and asked, I guess the bondsman withdrew his bond.
Oh.
He was arrested, I assume maybe because the baseball season was over, so he didn't know what would happen then.
Yeah, he may run.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Or maybe the fucking team had it recalled.
Sure.
We're not going to keep him out on our bond if he's not even pitching for us. So that year, 21-16, 2.32 ERA. That'll get you out of jail. 1917, Ted is one of 8 people arrested for a series of break-ins in Lexington in the spring of that year. They robbed.
Is it a ring of them?
It's a ring of. They're like a flash mob. These people. They did a tobacco store, a grocery store, and several wholesale houses were hitting the spree. Again, people never would have just went into a store and stole a bunch of shit and leave. Yes, they would and did a fucking 100 years ago. You morons. Yes.
You overwhelm them with people. You can't arrest all of them.
That's what it's been going on for fucking, and not to defend people who do that, because fuck them, but I'm just saying that it's nothing new. Stop acting like it's new. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, all of a sudden people just lost their minds. No, people have been crazy as fuck always.
For a long time.
Long time. It's just all documented with cell phone cameras now. So we see it happening.
It's on Snapchat.
Yeah, we see it. We can't get away from it. March 7th, 1917, 3 arrested in tobacco theft. Okay. Ted, 24. John, his little brother.
Oh, he's
back
joining
at
the
it.
family biz, yeah?
Yep, age 21. And John Frazier, also 21, were arrested on charges of housebreaking. They're breaking into people's street muggings,
God, Jesus.
stores, homes. These people are dangerous, man.
Scum, yeah.
What do you think they would have done if somebody caught them in the house? The owner, say.
Yeah. If they got a gun, yeah.
Yep. At 317 Hickory Street by Detectives Stewart, Henley, and Baker this morning. They're charged with entering the store of the Central Kentucky Tobacco Company, 165 East Short Street, Saturday night, and taking a quantity of cigars and cigarettes. According to the arresting officers, a considerable number of cigars and cigarettes were found in a raid on the house this morning, which was identified by T.A. Conway, bookkeeper for the tobacco company, as goods missed from their house Saturday night. Tobacco valued at more than $25 was taken, part of which was found at the Turner home. So, yeah, they searched his home. They found all this shit. Also, they found tobacco, cigars, candy, cigarettes, chewing gum, butter, eggs, and 3 hams, which were all stolen.
They stole a Circle K.
Turner's brother Wesley was also arrested, but later released.
All that was $25, huh? Jesus.
All that $25, and just the tobacco stuff was $25, and the rest of it. Wesley was later arrested on charges of knowingly receiving stolen property. Robert and Theodore both confessed to grand larceny and were sentenced to a year in prison each. So Ted, 1 year, fuck off.
Stay out of our lives.
Somehow he pitches that year. Anyway, That's in March, which is the beginning of the baseball season, and he does pitch for the 1917 Evansville Evas anyway.
Okay.
He pitches in 38 games, as a matter of fact. So it's not like he got paroled toward the end of it. He just didn't go to prison.
Or some shit? Yeah.
No idea. Maybe. And this is the time, if the team is beloved in the area, they have pull with judges. They can get people out. That was still going on in the 70s. Billy Martin got fucking Ron LaFleur out of jail for armed robbery. He never even played before.
Yeah.
So, this year he is 9-14 with a, that's a 4.50 ERA. So,
that's not good.
Not great, not as good as he did the year before, but he's distracted by prison, so that'll happen.
Yeah, he's laying on a concrete slab for at night.
That's tough. It's tough on your arm. You don't have that good snap on your curveball when that's happening. April 12th, 1917. Here we go. Okay, an article in the Lexington Herald. Whole family meets behind bars of state penitentiary in reunion.
For like Thanksgiving. Oh, just a reunion.
A reunion. A family reunion within the walls of the penitentiary at Frankfort will be held by Mr. and Mrs. Robert T. Turner of the Forest Hill section and their son John. Robert Turner was recently sent by a jury in circuit court to the penitentiary to serve a term of 1 year for chicken stealing. This was the 7th time for this member of the Turner family. John Turner, recently arrested by the detective department on 3 separate charges of housebreaking and alleged to have been the leader of the so-called Turner Gang, to whose credit were marked up by the detectives a number of housebreaking cases, was sent to a circuit court, was sent to by a circuit court to the penitentiary for 12 years.
Wow.
John's in for 12. Turner, when arrested, was on parole. That's why. Mrs. Mary Turner, wife of Robert Turner, was sent to the penitentiary yesterday afternoon in circuit court for a 1-year term on a charge of knowingly receiving stolen property. They said that they made in the Turner house last month, that Mrs. Turner was sitting on the stolen goods which they were seeking. The detective said that she had cigarettes, cigars, chewing gum, and other goods said to have been taken and stolen by her sons in a sack in her chair, and that she tried to hide the pilfered property under her dress when they were making their search.
While she sat.
Search
the house. Go ahead.
Yeah, she just tried. Oh, no, I don't know. Yeah, no, nothing's under my dress or this chair.
Ma'am, is that a ham in your giner?
Yeah, I think it is. Did you just fucking squirt a ham out of your pussy? What's going on, ma'am? What is that, chewing gum? Is that butter up there? The present term of the circuit court, and Wesley Turner is charged with receiving stolen property, and Ted Turner charged again now, this time with highway robbery.
Highway? He stole a highway.
What they charged people with in the 1800s in the Old West.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talked about highway robbery on the Patreon.
Is it when you're just basically standing on the road and ambushing and robbing things?
Yes, robbing stage cars and shit. Yeah, the highway robbers and road agents, they call them. So 1918 here, March 13th, Theodore Turner, who is charged with having broken into the country home of John M. Jones, was placed under arrest. So he's out of jail somehow and arrested again.
Breaking into houses.
Jesus, March 15th, 1918, this is in a few days here, Sheriff Ollie McFarland went to Louisville to return to Georgetown Robert Turner, who was wanted for housebreaking. That's the father, Chicken Bob. His son, Ted Turner, wanted for the same charge, was placed in the county jail yesterday, having been found in Lexington and returned. They're doing it together, father-son break-ins. By the way, when you're thinking about something, you should really consider Germany's new soap, I think.
What? Their new one?
Near soap.
Don't use the old one anymore? The old English?
Near. Don't use the far soap, the near soap. Germany's near soap. Soap is not obtainable in Germany at present. Huh? Oh, it's the World War I. It's the middle of World War I. That's why. The Kaiser, not getting it. There are many substitutes of chalk, alkali, sodium sulfate, etc., bound together with gelatine or glue. There's no excuse for Kentuckians being without soap when they can buy this soap, whatever the fuck this, the best laundry soap at 5 cents per cake. There you go. Paris, Kentucky, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Paris,
Get
Kentucky.
your laundry cake in fucking Paris.
Get it. Here's something for you. May 1st, 1918. They're breaking all the rules that we've set forth here.
Boy, are they dangerous.
All the crime and sports rules. And this one is that prisoner confesses sins to jailer is baptized in jail bathtub.
In the bathtub. Who is
The
this?
sins of the repentant may be washed away in the bathtub of a county jail as well as the waters of a church baptismal pool, was the belief of Robert Turner, the father, Chicken Bob here, whose immersion took place yesterday in the bathroom of the Scott County Prison. Turner confessed sin and the desire for a better life last night to jailer Lon Abbott, whose life he had attempted to take several days ago. He tried to kill the jailer and then said, "I'm sorry.
Baptize me and let's be forgiven."
The jailer, after the elderly prisoner had made an effort to kill him, answered the threat by preaching the gospel in Turner's prison cell.
Oh.
In the silent hours of the night, the prison cell was the scene of his conversion. After the jailer had preached in a midnight sermon on the text, "The wages of sin is death," repentant Turner declared in his life of more than half a century he'd been a gambler, a drunkard, a robber, and a burglar. He had served 5 terms in the state penitentiary. Last night he declared that he was ready to change his manner of life and desired to become a church member.
Yeah.
Finding it fixed, all good now. See's good now. Finding it impossible to obtain release from imprisonment, he was persistent in his entreaty that he be accepted in the church and baptized. The Reverend Ira M. Boswell, pastor of the Georgetown Christian Church, was summoned, and with a few members of his congregation present, the baptismal ceremony was held yesterday afternoon. Turner and his son Theodore Turner are in jail here, serving on a sentence of giving a charge of housebreaking. Ted Turner, who was formerly a star pitcher in the Ohio State League and last year lost a position of pitcher on an American Association club by his sentence to confinement. The father, since he made an attempt on the life of jailer Abbott, has been in solitary confinement. That's why. He wants to get out of solitary.
Yeah.
He has twice attempted to end his life by cutting his throat, and a short time ago, finding no weapon with which to attempt suicide, bashed his head into the prison wall until blood gushed from his ears.
Oh, he did so much damage. Maybe it's not cancer, man.
Yeah, no shit.
Beating the shit out of yourself.
And by the way, what happened to that? That was years ago. He was about to die. Now he's fine. After repeated efforts to end his earthly life had failed, a new hope came to him in the vision of the life of a spirit. Wow. I don't even know what the fuck to say about that. This is wild, by the way. Right under this, Villa breaks loose again, and 30 persons killed.
A Villa?
Who the fuck is Villa or Villa? Yeah. 30 old men, women, and children were killed by Villa's men at Santa Cruz de Rosas. Wow, this was happening then. That's crazy. This is like the fucking plot of Three Amigos.
Yeah. Is it really Pancho Villa?
I guess so. Right? Yeah, Villa's men. That's who it is. In Chihuahua City, 40 miles east of Chihuahua City last Friday, according to a report brought to the border today by railroad men. Villa demanded that 3 young girls be delivered to him. Deliver me 3 young girls.
We'll stop for 3 women.
Wow. When this was refused, his men were ordered to kill everyone living in the little settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me 3 young girls. No, kill the whole village.
Wow.
And that's what they did. They wiped out the whole village, which is exactly the plot of Three Amigos, as a matter of fact. If they get 3 silent Western film stars to come down and try to fight them, we're on to something.
It's definitely him. Holy shit. Yeah, from Chihuahua. That's him.
That's the guy.
That's unbelievable.
So, that is fucking wild. So May 29th, 1918. Oh, boy. Dad again here. Robert Turner, who has served sentences in the state penitentiary and has spent many a day in jails in other counties in the state, charged with election frauds, housebreaking, grand larceny, and even murder, who was at the age of 67, broken in health and at last contrite of heart, made a confession today of his entire past life to the Herald correspondent.
He's ready to confess.
About 10 days ago, he attempted suicide in his cell, first by slashing his throat, then by piercing his arteries with the buckle on his vest.
Wow.
Tried to poke holes in his arteries.
Straitjacket vest?
And he tried to squeeze the blood out as it shot.
Oh, my.
Wow. And finally beating his head against the prison walls until blood gushed from his ears. Then, after attempting the life of jailer Lon Abbott and chasing all of his frenzied fellow prisoners in their cells, he suddenly broke down after nightly sermons from the jailer, as Turner expressed it today, although it was In the dead of night, his cell became suddenly filled with rays of sunshine, and God came to him and forgave him for his sins. That's what he says.
Accepted him, yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Ira M. Boswell was called in, and the man was baptized in the tub in the jail. In a review today of his past career, Turner mentioned the names of many of the most prominent Louisville politicians for whom he said he played the part of wagon horse.
Yeah.
And declared his interview at the advice of those higher up, he had destroyed ballots, kept people from the polls with clubs, and in fact had used every means in power to do this. So he's a fucking election person.
But he's forgiven, James.
He's all forgiven. Everything's fine. If Turner's confession is true, the mystery as to the killing of Sampson, a ticket agent at the depot at Danville, is solved for the first time, and the two men who did the killing are still at large, though the crime occurred at the time Mr. Beckham was governor of Kentucky. Wow. He declared in the confession that two of his pals, Joe DeVille and Thomas Williams, acknowledged to him in Louisville that they had shot the man to death after robbing the depot safe of $115, and that they had not meant to kill him, but had to get away. When the Herald correspondent arrived at jail, she looked through the bars at a surprisingly kindly face into clear blue eyes and noticed the trembling, weak mouth hidden by a rather heavy growth of hair. During the interview, which lasted over 3 hours, the man pulled constantly on the bars with shaking fingers. "I am not making this confession to you, lady," he said, "but to God Almighty, to relieve my heart, which has been burdened with the sins I have been since I've been a little boy. It is not for newspaper talk and sympathy I want to make this confession, but to warn men, and as well as boys, of the evils of drink and gambling and bad company." Yeah.
It's not common knowledge yet?
Yeah. This guy is a fucking, wow, he's the biggest con man in the area, I think.
Did you guys know that if you gamble and drink and carouse with bad people, and you will have a bad life?
And sell your daughters? Yeah. Wow, you'll have a very bad life. Good point. They are three things which will drag a man down before he knows it, and after a while, he gets so that he doesn't care how far down he gets dragged either. So I plead with the men who read my words to take the advice of one who's been low as anyone, but who now sees the error of his ways, to shun as lepers, drink, evil association, and gambling. I was born in Madison County, Kentucky, in the hills, and was one of 7 children, none of whom ever got any education. My parents both died when I was 10 years old and when I was just 13 years old, so 110, 113. Yeah. I worked hard all day for 10 days to pay for a secondhand .22 caliber pistol. When I got it in my possession, I found the spring broken, and I walked for many miles over the mountains to an uncle who fixed it for me. This pistol was the first step to my downfall. I carried it loaded for 6 months. When I was arrested and they gave me 10 days in jail and fined me $25, they took my gun from me. So the first thing that I ever stole was another one, but this time it was a .32 caliber. He said, I found that stealing was easier than I had imagined. Yeah, much easier than work, I would say, too. Right. Much easier. And many a neighbor's chicken was caught and cooked by me and my associates before we were caught. My first big theft was 11 hogs, which I stole from a Mr. Robinson about 5 miles from Danville. They sentenced me to 2 years in the penitentiary, but I got out in 4 weeks.
How the fuck do you steal that many hogs? You got to rope them together, right?
Wow.
You lead them like a wagon train?
As I say, there's got to be a big wagon you load them all in. There has to be. It's the only way. Right here, I want to state that with influential friends always helping me out of my trouble, that's the, see? That's what it was. Helping me out of my trouble. How did he meet these people?
Why do they want him in their friend group?
Is he bringing them chickens? Does he make a really good chicken? Like, what's going on?
Maybe he's the inventor of chicken tonight.
Maybe. Fuck. I feel like chicken
Shake
tonight.
and bake guy.
Yeah. And its punishment did not have the terror for me that it might have had I paid the penalty every time I sinned. Another thing, if you give a dog a bad name, everybody wants to give him a hard kick. Jesus. So that that's a there are so many sayings from the past that refer to just randomly abusing dogs. It's insane. I've heard beaten like a dog, treated him worse than a dog, kicked like it's all these dogs.
Give a
what were we
dog
doing
a bad
with dogs?
name, it'll make people want to kick it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I named this dog fucking
This is
Pussy
shithead.
Wart, and they
Nobody
kicked the shit
kicked
out of it.
shithead in the
They
jerk.
loved shithead. They loved him. Oh, my God. So that's what he said. So that many a time I was arrested for a crime with which I had no connection and was released last October from a year in the penitentiary when another man did the stealing that I would not, but I wouldn't squeal on him. My son Theodore and I are now lying in jail charged with housebreaking, and when we were presented in circuit court, we can prove that we are innocent. So he's admitted to everything except for this last thing that I'm actually in here for. Right. That I'm clean.
We're gonna get our day in court.
So after his hog stealing when he was a teenager, that's when he got married.
Okay.
They said when he was but 17 years old, his wife being a barefooted child in knee-length skirts.
God, Jesus.
That is not a good description of the woman he married. A barefooted child. 11 children have been the result of the marriage.
Oh, Lord.
The second boy being Theodore, the baseball pitcher, who for the past 3 years has been on the Evansville team, winning the pennant for his team in 1915. Since his incarceration, he's had to refuse a big offer to go to Topeka, Kansas to play in the Western League. When a young man, Turner, entered politics, that's his old man Turner, yeah. He was truly a political mix-up game. He said that he would do anything to see a Democrat win, right or wrong. Back then, that's the parties, by the way. That's the South side, basically, at that point, because that was, they were Democrats and Lincoln was a Republican. He said that he was challenger at the Cabbage Patch polls, at the election when Paul Barth ran for mayor against J.T. O'Neill, and that O'Neill had a majority of 380 votes. He said that according to instructions, he shot a hole in the 380 ballots, completely disfiguring them.
Oh, my.
Then he drove a buggy to the Shelby Street polls where he stole the ballot box and ran through several streets and alleys until he got to Stone's place, just a block away from a station house, where he burned the contents of the box. As was prearranged, he said, 2 policemen with blank cartridges shot at him as he rushed out, and he in turn fired back at them with blanks. So they had to put a big show on, he said. Mm-hmm. He asserted that through Mr. O'Neill, he was arrested and served 6 months, and that during that time, every other week was presented before prosecuting attorney Huffaker, but that he would tell nothing. Upon questioning, he would answer evasively, Look for the fortune, the devil for all. The devil for us all. Look for the fortune, the devil for us all, Turner declared that his crookedness was done not alone for Barth, but for jailer Flans and all of the county officers, and that his deed would have been buried with him had not some officials gone back on him when they needed him. So, when he needed them. Because he would not give 2 policemen a pint of whiskey, they declared vengeance. That's what he says. So they turned him in.
Oh.
And the following week, his son John placed in Caldwell's School of Reform. Going to Judge Wilson, Turner swore, he said, quote, "Give me back my boy or I'll holler." And then Judge Wilson made no answer to his pleas. He said that he then went before Marshal Bullitt and made affidavits about the election, which caused the political undoing of many an official.
Oh.
He fucked a lot of things up, yeah. Turner recalled also having been presented in the United States courts during the Bryan election, where he was an election officer in Jessamine County. He stated that he was instructed to vote only the Democrats, and when a Republican appeared, he would be held back with a club, and that they voted Democrats so slowly that the polls were closed before a single Republican had cast his vote. Mm-hmm. Influential friends again came to his rescue, he said. According to Turner, he was an election officer in the Wilmore precinct in Jessamine County when Goebel ran for government. Goebel, like Goebel, it's spelled like Goebbels. Wow, that's crazy.
Not good.
He bought voters but kept Republicans away and did all sorts of crooked work to have his man elected. When Thomas Jeffries, a Republican, was kept from voting, Jeffries shot at him 5 times, and that he, having lent his pistol to Colonel Lilliard, who was also expecting trouble, could only use his pocket knife on Jeffries, whom he slashed several times. Jesus. Turner said that he was not even tried, but that Jeffries was fined a large sum and was imprisoned for 6 months because he was shooting.
Yeah.
Turner declared that in all of his trials in courts, he employed the best Democratic lawyer of the town, who would never accept a Republican on his juries. When asked about his connection with the Cassell murder between Nicholasville and Lexington several years ago, Thomas swore that through his two brothers-in-law, Sam Nightkirk and Abe Maples, had accused him of the murder. He had proven by two revenue officers that at the time of the crime, he was with them at High Bridge searching for two men who had stolen whiskey from still houses. Yeah. He was therefore cleared of the charge.
Okay.
So they said Cassell's turkeys were stolen one night, and when he shot at the intruders, they fired upon him, a Scott County official said. That's that murder in the turkey house there, or chicken house. Turner said that when Governor Beckham was in the chair, he was threatened with mob violence at the time, that the ticket agent Sampson was shot to death in Danville, and that the governor had ordered the militia to protect him. He claimed that at the time of the murder, he was lying at the Norton Infirmary, having submitted to an operation for cancer. That's the cancer. He stated that he had been at the hospital for 9 weeks at the time and was too weak to even walk when he was charged with the crime. Though the affidavits of his physician said his life was saved and he wasn't too weak to walk. Mulligan's bloodhounds traced the murderer of the agent to the cliffs near the Dix River, and Turner states that Mr. Mulligan thought he had recognized in the pursuing man himself. He said a mob had quickly formed and $500 was offered for his capture, meaning Turner's capture.
Right.
So about 6 months later, according to Turner's story, Joe DeVille and Tom Williams, two of his former companions, while drinking with him at a gambling table in Louisville, acknowledged having stolen $115 from the Danville station. Mm-hmm. He said that he had never exposed the men before, but felt that now, since he was making an open breast of all of his sins, he could not rest until that too was known. He said that at the end of the interview, he felt better than he had since he began his life of crime, and that he has been prevented from taking his life, and that in his desperation had cried aloud to God to help him, a God that he'd never before known, that had a prayer constantly and both day and night, and that all at once he expressed himself, meaning God, obviously. I felt a light, and everything about me was as bright as if the sun was shining in my dark cell. Even though it was the dead of night and I fell into a deep sleep and I awoke singing, I continued singing. When the jailer and his wife came in, jailers just bring their wives into solitary cells of a guy who just tried to murder him. Imagine that. I asked for a minister of the gospel, and now that I'm baptized, I'm truly a changed man, and I want the world to understand that what God has done for me, a poor, weak sinner, he would do for others who are repentant. I hope the good Christian people will help me and pray for me, and that I might get out in the world, and help change some other weakling like myself. I'm going to fix other people now. I pray that my wicked past may be an example for many others. My constant advice is for everyone to surrender their souls to God and pray for our blessed boys over there. God bless you all. World War I is what he's talking about over there. The county commissioner said that he listened to the recital of the story as well and thought it was pretty funny. So anyway, wow. So he is pretty fucked at that point, as we will talk about, and Ted is here. October 10th, 1918, the jury is unable to agree on the Commonwealth against Robert Clifford Clifford is charged with having accompanied Robert Turner and his son Theodore Turner, both of whom are serving sentences in the penitentiary. So this is the third break-in guy here. So there you go. There's so many articles about him being fucking baptized.
I mean, maybe that's why they've done it for years and years and years, because it got coverage.
Wow.
And
yeah, imagine if just any shitheel prisoner, every time they got baptized, newspapers were just fucking clamoring, every social media site.
Yeah.
Hey, burglar in the middle of fucking nowhere in Ohio decided to be a Christian today. That'd be so fucking weird.
It happens every day. It's not news anymore.
No, not at all. So here we go, March 11th, 1919. You noticed he hasn't really played baseball yet.
No, there's very little. Yeah.
He will play in the major leagues, though.
Is that right?
How the fuck is he going to get out of prison and go to the majors? Well, here we go.
Turn it around.
March 11th, 1919, 2 prisoners released and 3 are received, it says. Lewis Burns sent from Jefferson County for a term of 5 to 6 years for a dwelling house burning, and Theodore Turner from Scott County serving a term of 1 year for housebreaking were released. So he's out and about. He's 1919, going to play for the Toledo Mud Hens and also the Bloomington Bloomers.
Yeah.
So Toledo Mud Hens here. Any interesting names now? Howie, Gus, Ham Hyatt.
All right. First name Ham.
Ham Hyatt, Binky Jones.
There you go.
I like that. I like Binky. That's fun.
That's not bad.
They got a Binky, a Raleigh. But that's
good.
not that weird. It's not weird, though.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
I think it's short for Rollifer. No, I'm kidding.
Roland?
I have no idea. Roland, maybe Roland. That's possible. On the pitching staff, though, Ted is 0-1. By the way, he's 27 at this point.
Oh, no. He spent so much time behind bars.
So much time behind bars. He goes to Bloomington. There's a guy named Wheat is his first name. A guy named August and a guy named Wheat.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a Butch, too, and a Shag.
That's not bad. Yeah. I used to have
Shag.
a Butch in my life. I love that
That's
guy.
fun. That's
Butch
fun
is a
stuff.
great name.
Butch is usually a good guy.
He was filthy. He was dirty.
Butch is a
but he was
mensch.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, but
love
if you need your carburetor adjusted, Butch
he's
knows
so good. Yeah. I'll tell you a
that
great
shit.
pussy joke, too.
While he's doing
guy.
it.
What a
while
guy.
he's wrenching. Hey, you hear this one?
Yeah.
Well, he's right now. This year for Bloomington, he has a 1.92 ERA in 253 innings. So he is crushing it at that point. And at that point, well, before this, we'll cut this off before a shooting and all this stuff.
Oh, fuck.
All sorts of stuff going on here. And he's about to embark on his own career of insanity. Baseball, number one.
Oh.
You're going to hear about 2 more seconds of baseball and then crime for the rest of eternity.
Terrific.
So there that goes. Hope you like that. Ted Turner.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with this one.
Jim Blossom-nosed friend named Butch. He was such a good guy. He just said Butch, and I remembered him. He was great.
Yeah, everybody knows a Butch that they loved. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy the show, tell the world about it. Get on whatever app you're on. It does help us out a ton. Give us a review and give us 5 stars. It helps so fucking much. So if you enjoy the show, that's a great way to do that. Also, follow us on social media at Crime and Sports there. You, as well as that, want to head to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
Where you're going to get, I don't know, you're not going to get anything, but you can see things. You can get shirts and shit.
You get tickets,
Tickets for live shows. You can get anything from skateboards to fucking shower curtains
There you
also.
go. Yeah,
Tons of merch out there. Get tickets for Small Town Murder live shows. Check all that out. Listen to our other shows too. Small Town Murder and Your Stupid Opinions because they're fucking good. So check those out. Keep that going and keep hanging out with us. Patreon.com/crime in sports is where you get all of the bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get immediately hundreds of back episodes, bonus episodes you've never heard, new ones every other week. This week, not sure what Crime and Sports will be. It'll be up. We'll get to it. But for Small Town Murder, we're going to do something very fun that we can't wait to do. We're calling it Internet Salad, where
James and Jimmie catch a wave.
That's what it is. We basically, whenever we're hanging out and before we record and stuff, we go through, we're just bullshit. We just hang out as friends. So we're just bullshitting as friends, hanging out. And what we do is go over shit that we saw that day and go, did you see that? Oh, my God. And we make fun of it and blah, 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 blah. And it's the most fun. Our ribs hurt at the end of it. Then we're like, oh, now we got to start a show. Jesus Christ. So we're like, let's just hit record.
Yeah.
And
let people hear this.
And fucking go through the internet and go through current events and dumb shit and see what we fucking weird stories and see what we find. And you can hear us just completely on the fly. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So check that out and hang out with us there. Patreon.com/crime in sports is where you get all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing you get is shout outs. And when do those shout outs come?
Now, shit.
Right motherfucking now. Jimmie, please hit me with the names of the most wonderful goddamn people that we can't live without. I need to hear them.
This week's executive producers are Jeanette Pemalone.
I don't know how to say it, but I always see her name.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's going through it. Anonymous Finger also. I don't know who that is, but that's very funny. Other producers this week are Lindsay Seelig, Bo Hellstrom, Peyton would know. Oh, I think it's Peyton Meadows. I think that's who that is. Or it's just Peyton.
Okay.
That's Peyton Meadows. Emily Stein, Gary Howard, of course, Sarah Eagley, Rebecca Hargraves, it's probably Greaves, Janice Hill, Lisa B., Scott Lovelace, Matthew Orchard, Sydney with no last name, Kathy Sweet, Maggie So, Katie Bonner, Brian Duffy, Russell Shake, Camille with no last name, Cody Mitchell, Kathleen Love, Sarah Nicholson, Blake Bratu, Christoph Hernkey, Lisa Sutherland. Did I say that already? I feel like I said that already. I didn't say
familiar,
that.
But maybe not. No,
it was somebody else. I don't know. Beth Raines, Jimmy Z, like the clothing. Remember that shit?
Oh God, 90s Target
that
clothes.
Was a good time. God damn that fucking Woody with the surfboard hanging out the back. Hell yeah. Taryn Lackey, Sarah Mountain, Bjorn Gwarek Magzino, Christina B, Mariana B, Patrick Walter, Phil Baressa, Brian Call, it's Crawl, yep. Joanna Posige, what? Pasagi, all right. BTS, probably not them, but that's the letters. Jody with no last name. Susan with no last name. Eric Gels maybe. P. Christ, okay, P. Christ. Stormy Knoll, Jean Schultz, Carter Brock, Andrea with no last name. Relly Renova, Hannah Warnock, Jason Boat, Bree Taylor, Amber Hansen, Iniguez. That's a fun one. Tammy Roberts, Joshua Fuller, Maria Strom, Annie Altavers, Kate Dobbs, Kathy Infirmary, Rich with no last name, Rebecca with no last name, Joshua Goodall, Julie Kaiser, not the Kaiser. Cameron May, Neil Bennett, Sandy C., Ashley Hewitt, Brian Yige, Cinnamon Bun, Heidi Fitzgerald, Jessica Hayden, Dan Evans, Allison Roberts, Kayla Massengale, not the Gill.
I was going to say.
You get it.
Being 96.
She did. Carol Watkins, L and the letter S, LS. Amanda Petrie, Megan Doobie, Mamie Darwin, maybe. Cindy Spies, maybe Spies. TJ and his puppy, April Hennis, Hayden Matos, Neil Vander Myron, Elin Tomrin, Hogset. I don't know. It's fucking probably Swedish. What was Elin Nordegren? Whatever that lady was. That's probably what they are.
Norway.
Yeah, was she Norway?
Norwegian.
Okay.
Norwegian, Danish,
Nordegren from Norway, somewhere around there. Yeah, very, very blonde and hot. Thomas Coertz, Dustin with no last name, Gabriel Lopez, Leanne Hudson, Kathy Jackson, Tish Goppel, Michelle Craig, Troy Gaylord, Pootie Tang, Susan Clark, Madeline B, Julie McLean's great
on
movie.
board.
What a movie.
Once you get Pootie Tang on board, the rest is
everything
gravy,
is
everybody.
it's all downhill from there. Brent with no last name, Beth Beaver, Sandy Smith, Noah Benjamin, Wow Jim 9 GRK, Aaron Smith, Tony with no last name, Lindsay Meyer, Liz with no last name, Leanne Miles, Caitlin S., Brandy Sellers, Grant Tracy, Michelle Miller. Michelle's back. She's terrific. The lady from up in Flagstaff. She's great.
I remember her. Yeah, she goes down.
Oniz owner, Megan Wilson, Bonnie Cartez, Aaron with no last name, Lois with no last name, Susan Deutsch. Nope, that's Sean Deutsch. Sorry, Sean.
Go by Susan from now on.
That's your new name, Susan. Sean. Jerry W. Exxon Jr., Emma Elizabeth, Penny McClinton, Todd Runberg, Adelaide at Edgett, Tropism, Kyle Keel, Batanian, G13, Mickey A, Fiji with no last name, Brandy Kelly, Colton Adams, Zachary Beach, Jason with no last name, Michael H, Sarah Jamie, Jason with no last name, Jennifer O'Malley, Allie W, Eric Turner, Juniper and Eric, Jeremy Osborne, Ashley Buckholt, Amy Kunzelman, Nicole C, Benjamin Osborne, Bridget Kaiser, another Kaiser.
That's a lot of Kaiser talk today. And now I want a sandwich on a roll.
Joel Rice, Stuart Reed, Teresa Costello, Jamie with no last name, Aaron Aguiar, Kristen Thomas, Kyle with no last name, Tucky's mom, Missy with no last name, Azazito loves, what is this? Asito that loves his mapchita. I don't know what the fuck that means. Joshua Ocheltree, Sharon with no last name, Leva Up Mace Gravina. I don't know what that is. That's it's probably a fucking code. Matthias
Code for something. You just admitted to a crime.
Braven. Damian Ivory, Ava Cockerham. Cock your own ham. Tucker Krukenberg. What the fuck? Zachary Downs, Chris Peebles, Dana Duker Williams, L with no last name, Sarah T, Sharon Clark, Ashley Minton, Wanda Jean, Secret Sauce, Wanda Jean. All right. Ken Reynolds, Lily, I've spent enough time on that. Lily Malik.
Trying to figure that out.
Lily Malik, John H., and also every person that donates on Patreon or PayPal. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Unbelievable.
everybody. You fucking amazing people. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Every time.
Come through for us all the time. We hope you're loving the Patreon content because we have a good time making those.
Fun,
so hope you like them. Also, too, you can always suggest, because I've seen tons of people like in groups and stuff going, where can I? You can hit me up with the Patreon suggestions because I fucking come up with them. Do that. Hit me up, and I'm open to suggestion on those big time because I'm looking for weird stuff, different shit.
Different.
We do cool stuff on there. Yeah, fun shit. So that said, thank you for joining us so much. And we look forward to old Ted here next week.
Finish up Teddy.
It's going to start out with his dad being accused of some pretty vicious murder, so that'll be fun. And then Ted's going to get into it himself. So that's some good shit. Can't wait for that. Hang on, everybody. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.